Okay, so you finally saved up an extra $1,000. First of all, that's a huge accomplishment. Seriously. But here's the thing. If that money is just sitting in your checking account, you're actually losing money every single day. There's this little thing called inflation. So I thought I would do a little video for you guys, kind of a breakdown of how you can actually put that $1,000 to work and turn it into something that grows for you, even if you've never ever invested a dollar in your life. Welcome, and yeah, for real, congratulations on getting that $1,000 together. In a world with a million distractions, setting that aside is no small thing. My goal here is pretty simple: to bring some transparency to the world of investing. I feel like there's this myth that you have to be some Wall Street genius or have a ton of money to even get started. And that's just not true. Honestly, starting with $1,000 is like the perfect way to learn the ropes and build habits that will literally help you for the rest of your life. This isn't about some get-rich-quick thing or betting on a crazy meme stock. This is a real, no-nonsense guide to taking your $1,000 and making it the foundation for your future. We're going to break it down into simple steps anyone can follow. So, let's get into it. Section 1. The most important first step that I swear everyone skips. All right, before we even talk about stocks or anything exciting, we have to cover the #1 rule of personal finance. You have to build a safety net first. I know. It's not the sexy part, but trust me, it's the part that lets you sleep at night. Think about it this way. Recent reports show that a huge number of people can't cover a surprise expense. One survey in 2025 found that less than half of U.S. adults have enough to cover 3 months of expenses. And something like 24% have no emergency savings at all. So what happens if your car breaks down? The last thing you want is to be forced to sell your investments, maybe even at a loss, to cover it. That's how you lose. This is where your first $1,000 is a superhero. So before you invest a single penny in the market, you have to set up an emergency fund. This is non-negotiable. So what do? You take that $1,000, or at least the first $500 of it, and put it somewhere safe and easy to get to, but not too easy. Don't just leave it in your regular checking account where you might just spend it. You open something called a high-yield savings account, or an HISA. And HISA is just a savings account, but it pays you way more in interest. Your normal bank might give you a sad 0.1%, but a lot of HISAs in 2025 are offering rates over 4%, with some even hitting 5% at times, though you should know these rates can fluctuate. This means your emergency money is actually growing and fighting inflation for you while it just sits there. Banks like SoFi, Ali Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, shout out to them, they all offer these, and they're FDIC insured, so your money's protected. Think of it like the foundation of a house. You wouldn't build on shaky ground, and you shouldn't invest without this cushion. So take this step seriously. Get that fund started. Once that's done, you're ready to invest the next $1,000. Section 2. The why. Making your money work for you. Okay, so your emergency fund is set up in an HISA, earning some interest. Nice. Now, let's talk about the next $1,000. Why is it so important to invest this money instead of just saving it? The one-word answer: inflation. Inflation is that silent thing that makes your money worth less over time. The coffee that cost you $4 last year might be $4.25 this year. It doesn't sound like a lot, but over decades, it makes a huge difference. If your money is just sitting there earning nothing, you're effectively getting poorer every year. So investing isn't just about trying to get rich. It's about making sure the money you worked hard for keeps its value and grows. The goal is to have your money grow faster than inflation. And historically, the stock market has been one of the best ways to do that. I guess the best way for a beginner to do this isn't to try and pick the next big stock. Instead, we're going to use a really powerful strategy: passive investing. Passive investing just means you're not trying to be a genius and beat the market. You're just trying to match the market by buying a little piece of everything. It's kind of a set it and forget it approach that takes a lot of the emotion and guesswork out of it. It's less stressful, It's cheaper, and for most people, it just works better in the long run. This is how we're going to put your $1,000 to work. Section 3. Where to invest. Choosing your investment home. So to start investing, you need a place to actually buy your investments. This is called a brokerage account. Think of it like a specialized online store, but for things like stocks and funds. For a beginner, you've basically got two main paths. The do-it-yourself, DIY path, with a Path A, the DIY brokerage account. This is the most common way. You open an account with a firm like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, or Vanguard. These are like the big, trusted names in the game with tons of resources. They're perfect for long-term investors. Then you have newer platforms like Robinhood, which are super popular because their apps are incredibly simple and can feel a lot less intimidating when you're just starting out. Honestly, any of these are a great choice. You just want to look for one with zero commission fees and no account minimums. Path B, the robo-advisor. Now, if the idea of picking your own investments still sounds like a lot, a robo-advisor is a phenomenal option. I'm talking about platforms like Betterment and Wealthfront. They basically take all the guesswork out of it for you. Here's how it works. You sign up, answer some questions about your goals, your age, how comfortable you are with risk, and stuff like that. And based on your answers, their algorithm automatically builds a diversified portfolio for you. They handle everything for a tiny annual fee, usually around 0.25% of your money. So for $1,000, that's like $250 a year. It's an amazing way to get a professionally managed portfolio without needing a human financial advisor. For the rest of this guide, we'll assume you went the DIY route, but just know that a robo-advisor is a totally valid and great choice. Section 4. What to actually buy. The simple core satellite strategy. Okay, you've got your brokerage account open. Your $1,000 is in there. Now for the $1 million question, or, the $1,000 question. What do you actually buy? We're going to use a simple model called core satellite. It's super easy to understand and gives you a good balance of stability and growth. The core, 70% of your money. So 700. A broad market index fund ETF. This is your foundation. The core, it should be something diversified and proven. And for this, there's really no better choice for a beginner than an S&P 500 index fund ETF. Let's break that down. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is basically a single investment that holds hundreds of different stocks. An S&P 500 index fund specifically holds stocks from the 500 largest U.S. companies. Think Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, all the big names. So by buying just one share of an S&P 500 ETF, you instantly own a tiny piece of all 500 of those companies. It's the ultimate diversification. You're not just betting on one company, you're betting on the long-term success of the whole American economy. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned an average of about 10% per year over the long haul. A few popular S&P 500 ETFs are VOO, IVV, and SPY. They all pretty much do the same thing. So you'd take $700 of your $1,000 and put it right here. This is your anchor. The satellites, 30% of your money, so $300. Adding some spice. Now for the fun part, the other $300 is for your satellites. This is where you can invest in sectors or companies you personally believe in. It adds a little bit of growth potential. Here are a couple of ideas. Option 1. A thematic ETF. 150. Do you really believe tech is the future? You could put $150 into a Nasdaq 100 ETF, like QQQM. This fund is heavily focused on tech and innovation. Or maybe you're into real estate. You could look at a real estate ETF, also called a REIT, like VNQ. Option 2. A few individual stocks, $150. This is where you can be a real owner of your favorite companies. And thanks to fractional shares, you don't need a ton of money to buy a piece of Amazon or Nvidia anymore. You can invest with just $5 or $10. Pick 2 or 3 companies you really understand and believe in for the long Run and split the last $150 between them. The key here, and trust me on this, is to choose solid businesses you plan to hold for years. Avoid the temptation to chase hype. That was a lesson that, really helped me learn. This core satellite approach gives you a portfolio that is 70% stable and diversified, with 30% in areas you think could have higher growth. It's a really balanced way to start. The ultimate investment. Alright, one final bonus tip. And this is something that's been a huge part of my own story. Arguably the most powerful thing you can do with $1,000 isn't putting it in the market, but investing it in yourself, acquiring a new skill. This could be an online course on digital marketing, a certification in a tech field, a public speaking workshop, or even just buying a stack of books on a topic you want to master. Think about it. If you use $1,000 to learn a skill that helps you earn an extra $5,000 a year. That's a 500% annual return. No stock can consistently give you that. From that first initial experience, that really helped me just lean into wanting to grow. The more you earn, the more you'll have to invest in your portfolio later on. Never underestimate the power of investing in your own skills. So let's recap the simple 5-step plan. Build your foundation. First things first, put that initial $500 to $1,000 into a high-yield savings account for emergencies. Choose your home. Open a brokerage account like Fidelity or go with a hands-off robo-advisor like Betterment. Build your core. Invest the bulk of your money, about 70%, into a broad S&P 500 ETF like VO. Add your satellites. Use the other 30% for a thematic ETF or a couple of individual companies you believe in. Invest in yourself. And never forget that your own skills can be the best investment you ever make. The hardest part of investing is just getting started. People wait for the perfect time, but that doesn't exist. Just by watching this, you've already taken a huge step. If this guide was helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button for more simple finance guides just like this one. And now I want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment below and let me know how you plan to invest your first $1,000. Or if you've already started, what was your very first investment? I'd love to see what's going on in your sphere. Thank you for watching and happy investing.